Hi. So, the main thing I remember about vocabulary lessons in elementary school was that a lot of the times we would learn words and then we would act it out. But the main thing I remember us doing was like a graphic organizer where we'd have the word and then we'd have a definition, where it would be like one of the folding ones where it had the word and the definition, it in a sentence, and then probably a picture to associate it. And I think that that was pretty effective. I remember that more than anything just because it really made us not just learn how to spell the word or the definition, but it made us use it. And then the associating it with a picture helped us remember it at a higher level. So, when it comes to knowing a word, there's the five domains, and I think that the most important, at least in my opinion, is availability. So, being able to use it in a sentence or in discussion, and then application, which is using it correctly. And I feel like those two are important because one, when you learn words, you want to be able to use them. And I think that all of the dimensions definitely go together, but I think these two definitely go together, especially application, because you can use as many big words as you want, but if they don't make sense, you don't know the word. And also, you should be able to use words that you learn in a sentence and in conversation, because that's really showing that you know the word if you can use it and then use it correctly. I really liked this story. It reminded me also of the book. I think it's called Hair. It's a children's book about a little girl with very curly hair. I liked it. I think that the author's message was very much self-love because it talks about hairstyles and being proud of what you do with your hair, because your hair is definitely a representation of yourself. And I think it's a big part of self-care that maybe a lot of people forget about, of being like super important. And it's a very high form of self-expression. People can do different colors, people can do different cuts. I know when I'm like going through like a radical change, like I'll like chop my hair off, I'll get bangs. So I think that that was the author's message, was talking about self-love. And then also I think that you could read this to kids that don't necessarily have that hairstyle, because it's talking about African American hair mainly, and so that they are also learning about that. Because I know it definitely is a cultural thing. That's the same thing with the book I mentioned earlier, the hair book, because it has to do with the thick curls that many little girls have. So just also teaching children about that, because there are different hair textures. I really liked the language in this story. I wrote down a bunch of words. I think my favorite one he kept using was royalty. I really love that word. And then I have put a couple of them in tiers. I am still working with the tiers. I don't fully understand them, but I put them into categories to the best of my ability. So for tier 1, I have museum and patience, because I think those are pretty common words that are used. For tier 2, royalty and swagger, because you don't hear them as much and they can have different meanings and be used in different ways. And then tier 3, I have Jupiter and geography. But I really did love the language and the words used in this story. So yeah, thank y'all for listening.